Welcome to today's presentation. We were requested to present you three new informational PowerPoints. All three PowerPoints will be held back to back with small intermission between, and all will feature a Q&A session. Any questions you have will be answered during the Q&A session. So, as a quick reminder, all of this is done in favor of the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Hope everybody's taking a seat because it's presentation time. So, for our first presentation, I'll be going over everything wrong with the current set. This was commissioned by none other than K6, so let's dive straight in. So, a quick overview to help people guide along who follow the hunt. I went in the same order as the rules are stated on the website. So, we'll briefly talk about what the hunt is, how the winner is picked, what the restrictions are when playing, as well as how points are divided. There's a small addendum of suggestions that did not fit in a specific category, a conclusion, and then as mentioned, the Q&A where I will be answering any questions from the chat. Let's straight into it. What is the hunt? The hunt is a community-driven scavenger hunt specifically for one of the Borderlands games. The one that this pertains to was the Hunt Before the Storm, which was a Borderlands 2 hunt. Now, it is a scavenger hunt, but it's also a competition. The people who are participating are ranked on the leaderboard. For those who have completed everything, they will be ranked based on their completion time. For anybody else, they will be ranked based on the they earn. Now, most importantly, all of this is done as a creative way to raise funds for charity, specifically St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, let's go into what the issues are with the current rule set for both of these things, namely making the competition fair, but also making it a good fundraising event. Both of these are, in my opinion, essential to the hunt. So, first of all, the hunt champion is just bragging rights. For those who want to read up right here and don't want to go look at the actual hunt time, it explains that the winner is a player who completes the hunt checklist in the shortest stream time. Now, again, very important is all of this is done for charity, and so this is exclusively for bragging rights. The reason I preface this before we head into actual problems is that it has to be fun, and I will also go into detail on why I think some things might be a little excessive, which might be necessary for a competition that features cash prizes, but not very on the point for the current event. So, stream time and playtime rules. The first one is the showing start and end playtime, which I believe is something that wasn't there before. And it is used to catch quote unquote cheaters who would farm offline in between things. In my opinion, this adds complexity without real benefits. Going back to the previous slide, there's no prize money. The only thing you get by cheating is the risk of you getting shunned by the community. So, in my opinion, there is just no real reason to add this unless there's cheating would be a very big issue, which I don't think it is. One other thing is that, as you saw in the previous slide, the calculation for who won the hunt, who completed it faster, is based on stream time, but there's no actual mechanism that allows you to shrink your stream time when not actually playing without effectively shutting down your stream. So to me, this kind of discourages you from taking healthy breaks during the event. Let's say you just need a 20-minute break, go walk around, go get some food, whatever. Just don't play the game. Those 20 minutes will be added to your stream time, which for those who are competing casually is not really an issue, but for those who are actively competing to be top ranks, I feel this discourages healthy breaks. Some of this behavior may lead to burnouts or unhealthy competition. One of the examples we had a couple years ago is that they implemented a max stream time just to prevent this from happening. Now, we saw that the max stream time per day was very limiting and unfair to certain players. Um, but I still think there should be a system in place that allows you to take a break without having to shut down your stream. On the gameplay restrictions. Now, those of you who participated will know that at the last minute there were some clarification and changes to what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. One of the problems with this was that most of those were said 1 or 2 days before the actual hunt started. Another problem with this was that they were only mentioned in the Discord and not on the actual site. And again, that it was unclear from the actual text in the rules as to which limits there were. One of the examples I can give you is the lack of clarity on allowed third-party programs. Read-only farming is a very, very big deal in Borderlands 2. A lot of people use a certain program made by Captain Fufu. The fact that this was not allowed was only clarified, I think, 1 day before the hunt, and made it very hard for certain people to actually do read-only farming because they've only ever used the program. Another issue I had with the gameplay restrictions was that the banned glitches are only allowed late, meaning that you have to be level 80 and it had to be after a certain amount of donations were present. Now, the donation goal was set low enough that it was almost done immediately, but the key takeaway I want to give here is that it had to be at level 80. So people who wanted to do raid bossing could not do so at TVHM using the same glitches that people were using at max level. On top of that, if you wanted to do raid bossing with the broken glitches in UVHM, you had to do a lot of XP farming. For the speedrunners, XP farming was usually anywhere between 2 to 3 hours, but I know from talking to other people that they spent 5 hours or more getting to level 80 just so they could do raid bossing at max level. So this is something that I think was a big mistake that kind of didn't hurt the speedrunners as much because they were planning to get to level 80 anyway, but very much hurt the casual players. Another thing that hurt everyone was the fact that you could not downgrade to a previous playthrough. There are two aspects in this. The first one is that mistakes are permanent. Somebody forgot to farm a low level Bada Boom. I myself accidentally sold my low level Fable Tortoise at some point when I entered UVHM. We could not go back in previous playthroughs to fix our mistake. There was nothing we could do except for start the hunt all over again if we wanted to fix this. The other aspect is that casual players were penalized for not knowing broken glitches. The ones we mentioned earlier, the banned glitches that were allowed at level 80 for raid bosses, not everybody knows how to do them. Not everybody likes using them. Raid bossing in Borderlands 2 is designed to be tackled with 4 people. If you have to do it by yourself, you have to use either glitches or one of a few very, very specific builds that can actually take down the raid bosses. Casual players will not do either. What happened previous years is that what they would do is they would go into UVHM or TVHM, grab good gear, get a high level, and then go back one playthrough and fight the raid bosses that way. So This is something that is specifically for casual players, because I think the change was pretty good for the actual competitive players, but for casual players, this hurt them very, very much. Moving on, world drops, vendors, and points. For starters, the way world drops worked was very, very confusing for a lot of people. So you could count any world drop from any point of the game for points, except when it was from Loot Midgets or Fight for Sanctuary DLC, except for there were certain items that you could count from them. So for that, simplicity is just key. It was just too confusing. A lot of people had questions before and during the hunt, and it was just not clear. For the actual items that were allowed from any point, there were two items that I feel were missing from here. And I'll explain to you why. The first one is the Quasar, which is dedicated drop source is normally from Ultifarkit. The issue with Ultifarkit is that a solo player has a very, very low chance of actually spawning one. This is a point where I know the hunt encourages people to play together, but it's my opinion that you should be able to complete the hunt both as a solo player and as a group player. Both should be capable, and it's telling if the best way to farm this grenade is just farming a chest thousands and thousands of times, hoping to find it. Now, the other one is the Skull Masher. The reason why I think the Skull Masher should have been available even from the Fight for Sanctuary DLC or Loot Midgets is that the Skull Masher's drop, which is, I believe, uh, son of Mokrath, whatever, the one who replaces Bloodwing, he's the one that drops it. But he also flies out of the arena the entire time. Actually, killing him and making the drops land in the arena is the biggest chance. And in the BL3 hunt, we have a similar situation with Rain and Blue Fire, who will drop their stuff into the void. So in previous BL3 hunts, we've added those to the world drop pool because we said, oh yeah, we can't help that they drop stuff in out of bounds or into the void, and then you can't go collect them. I don't see why we didn't do the same thing for the Skull Masher because it's the exact same situation, but for BL2. Now, I got a small addendum here as well, which is that a couple things that I didn't feel fit into the previous ones, but that I still felt were problems during this hunt. The first one is the big one. Websites should include all useful resources, tools, tutorials. We love Discord. I love Discord. We use it for everything. But some people don't. For a competition or just a general event, I feel like all useful things should be included in the website as well. Just add, we have like this channel which is like resources and links, whatever. Just add, make a page on the website, add the links there. It's not a lot of work, but it makes it visual for everybody. It makes it public. Because one of the things as well was that you have to have a certain role in the Discord, and a lot of people just didn't realize that. They were just talking in the general chat instead of the event specific one. So they didn't have access to the event specific resources. So I feel like that should always be included in the website as well. Another one for that is the discussions channel. Well, I think the discussion channel is a very good initiative to get feedback from the community. Any changes made as a result of that discussion should also be clearly stated elsewhere. What I could not do was be on my phone 24/7 before the event. So what happened was I went to bed, I woke up, there were 250 messages in the discussions channel the day before the hunt. There was no way for me to read every single one of those. So that's one thing I would. They've already kind of fixed it with Bill 2, Bill 3, with opening the discussions channels a lot before the actual hunt, giving us time to digest it in pieces. But I still would like to see different channel with official changes made. One of those being that I want a rule set to be frozen a certain amount of time before the actual hunt. I know this time around it was a special thing, but the fact that there were rule changes within 48 hours of the start of the event made a lot of people confused. Lastly, I think there should be clear definitions of allowed tools, glitches, and farming. Lots of the rules, especially those involving glitches, will say something along the lines of you're not allowed to abuse the Axton multiplayer speed glitch. You're not allowed to abuse pimp happing. A lot of casuals have no clue what that is. And I think for allowed tools, glitches, and so forth, especially those that are specifically allowed or specifically banned, we should have some kind of knowledge article, is what we usually refer to them in web development, uh, with like a link to a YouTube tutorial or just a small explanation as to what they are or how to do them or how to avoid doing them in case they're banned. So everybody's on the same page as to what is meant. Because just for those who are not specifically doing speedrunning or one life, a lot of these glitches might be unfamiliar to them. All right. So my conclusion, what is wrong with the current rule set is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Just every single exception, every single explanation necessary makes the hunt more of a chore, both for those who are participating as those who are organizing it. Sometimes it's just better to take a step back, keep things as simple as possible, even if that means you lose a little bit of quality of life. Even if it means, as somebody who makes a hunt assist, even if it means saying not a single third-party app is allowed, I would rather see that happen than the situation we had during the PL2 hunt. So just keep it simple. Now, that was all it for me for the current presentation. Welcome, welcome. Please take a seat. We're now moving on to the second presentation, which is why does K6 become more beautiful with old age and obesity? For that, let's head back to the presentation room. There we go. So, Pillar 6, aging like fine whiskey. Inspirational journey of style, grace, and increased chair durability. I hope you're ready. Let's go. So, let's start off in the early days. This is the oldest picture I could find of K6. And as you can see, kind of low res, but that's where we're starting off. He didn't quite have the full beard yet, but he did have the mustache and like the little goatee. And as you can see, very, very dark hair. Yeah, that's where we start off. So this is our base point. Uh, I think this is about 9 to 10 years ago. That's where we're just getting started. So next step on our beautiful journey throughout K6's life is the dad energy. So as we all know, culture is changing a bit. Words like daddy have become very, very sexualized, and dad energy is becoming a more accepted term of endearment rather than of rejection. So Exhibit B, dad energy activated. Now, as you can see, the resolution already went up a bit. There's better lighting. He's shaven a bit more, and well, the aim never changed, but we'll stick to that. But as you can see, big improvement already. Now, as soon as you have that energy, what do you need to go even a step further? Well, of course, what's more dad-like than a beard? Now, a beard, very essential. People are very much going back into. It used to be a bit hipster, now it's back in again. Very much like facial hair, especially well groomed. On top of that, something very much for the millennials among us, existential dread is the hot topic right now. People have never been as much in love with existential dread as before. And as you can see from this picture, again, resolution not the best, but you can still clearly see the existential dread in his eyes. Those eyes just say dead, like everything's dead to me, and that's just pure sexiness. Now, uh, you might wonder, so we have the beard, we have the dad energy, we have better resolution. What else could be making A6 even more beautiful? Well, there is one more thing, which is the ultimate form, granddad energy. Gray hair, out of style sunglasses, chef's kiss. Sex appeal is just off the charts. As everybody knows, most sexy character in Phineas and Ferb's Dr. Doofenshmirtz, giving same energy right there. Um, like he's ready to enter his golden years. He's ready to enter his granddad years. Just pure, raw, unfiltered sex appeal right there. So, as we can conclude from this, like a fine wine, K6 only improves with time. He's a beacon of beauty for streamers anywhere. And I will admit, I got this last one from ChatGPT. Obesity, more like obesexy. Hell yeah. Looking forward to K6 going into his golden granddad years even more. And I'm sure in 5 to 10 years we can do this presentation all over again with the same conclusion that K6 is only getting better. Now, chat, any questions? Ooh, we're seeing lots of agreement in the chat. Lots of emotes. You're saying existential dread has been hot for centuries. It's kind of a up and roller coaster thing. Like sometimes existential dread is hot, sometimes it's kind of edgy. I think right now we're back into existential dread is hot as fuck. Take your seats, take your seats. We're now getting started with the final presentation of the day. The top 5 reasons why I should play Fortnite with Ruka Roy, commissioned by the one and only Ruka Roy. So I made this PowerPoint into 2 parts. The first one being why should anybody play Fortnite? Uh, and then the second half, kind of the last 2 points, or why should I specifically me play Fortnite with Ruka? So let's dive straight into it and let's go over some of the most appealing reasons why one would play Fortnite. First one being that it has constantly evolving gameplay. As you can see right now, because a new season just came out, I think yesterday, which is there's frequent updates, new mechanics, some old mechanics come back. There's always new seasonal events, new seasonal skins, missions, game modes, uh, even stuff like rocket racing is part of Fortnite. So if it's a game you enjoy, there's always gonna be more to enjoy because they keep regularly updating the content. On top of that, it has very wide accessibility. As Ruka loves to say, it's a free, fun game. It's free on all major platforms. It has crossplay with console, PC, and even mobile. And in general, it has a very low barrier of entry for new players. There's not a lot to do. There's no complicated sign-up process or a complicated store like the Ubisoft store you have to go through. It's just kind of plug and play. You download it, you load up, boom, you're good to go. Honestly, I can't speak from my own experience, but from what I've read online, even the system requirements to run Fortnite aren't very high either. So even if you're a starting gamer, you don't have a very expensive setup or anything, just your lappy, as Ruka loves to call it, um, that's more than enough to play the game. So, last general one is, I think a major appeal for the game is the collaborations. Now, the game is made by Epic, so anything else Epic, as well as the collaborations Epic has, appears in the game. You have Marvel, one of the favorites here is the Borderlands. There's so much more superhero stuff, Disney stuff, you know. There's constant new cosmetics and events. Currently, I think it's the Star Wars event going on with mini bosses and stuff from Star Wars, but also cosmetics, new weapon types and stuff based on Star Wars. So I think that's a big appeal to the game as well. Very recognizable. So moving on to why I specifically should be playing Fortnite is first of all of my Twitch buddies are playing it. There's Ruka, Sword, Jack, Monstro, um, you know, a lot more than I haven't mentioned here, hence the three dots, because I could probably fill this entire screen. But they're always playing it. Smishman every Thursday night, um, sometimes even Friday morning or Tuesday night. You know, everybody having fun. So if you were to convince me to play this, I think this would be the second biggest reason, which is, oh, the people you love hang out with them while playing the game. Now, the biggest reason why I should play Fortnite with Ruka is very simple. So Ruka will stop fucking complaining. This is the number one reason why I should play Fortnite, so Ruka will shut up and we won't have to go through this again. Making it very clear. So, in conclusion, Fortnite stands out with innovation and accessibility. It's great for anyone if you want to have casual fun or be competitive. Whether it's new or returning, there's always something new to play. Except if your name is HH King. So thank you very much for the last presentation. We will now be holding a short Q&A. I once again want to remind you that these presentations were made in favor of a charity called the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and the link to that Build-to-Fi fundraising campaign will remain open until the end of May. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the presentations. I want to give a big shout out to Killer6 and Rukaroy who donated during the hunt to make these presentations happen. The donation link to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital will be in the description down below. It was a good hunt. Let's get ready for the next one.